Tonight, a wildfire burning out of control east of Los Angeles. The line fire more than doubling in size overnight, prompting evacuations and threatening thousands of homes. Firefighters battling the flames in triple-digit temperatures. Meteorologist Elisa Raffa is standing by with more on the extreme weather. CNN's Camila Bernal is live in San Bernardino. Camila, let's start first with you and tell us more about what's happening behind you.
Hey Jess, so we just came upon some of the hot spots that we essentially followed these firefighters into, and I want to show you some of the conditions that you're seeing in this area. One of the problems is the terrain. It is very steep, so you have firefighters that are basically walking downhill. You even see how they're slipping in that terrain. It is dry, so officials saying that there has not been a fire here for a long time, and that creates more of a fire, and it is a lot quicker. I also want to show you over on this side because I am seeing bring my photojournalist Rory Ward to come closer to me so that he can see some of the flames down there. So the other problem that you're having here is the thunderstorms. We are expecting thunderstorms in this area, so we have heard some of the thunder. There is lightning. Yes, there could be some rain, and that could be helpful for firefighters. Excuse me, it's just very smoky in this area. But the lightning can also start new fires, and they're also telling me that the wind in those storms are so unpredictable that it can move those flames in areas where firefighters do not even know where to go or where to position their crews. So again, they're just working around the clock. There's about 600 or so firefighters and personnel in this area, but they're asking for more help. That's what officials on the ground here say. They need more help because this fire is still 0% contained. Despite all of their efforts since Thursday, it's been at 0% containment, and now about 17,000 acres burned. So you're seeing the work that they're doing around the clock. It is not easy, and because it's so hot and because of these conditions, I was told that it's physically difficult for a lot of these firefighters, so they need that rest time as well. There's about 5,000 or so people that have been told to evacuate, either warnings or mandatory orders. But this is exactly what they're dealing with, these flames that are hard to control at times. And so, again, you're seeing a lot of the hot spots, and you're seeing, as you drive around this national forest, thousands and thousands of acres already burned, Jess.
All right, Camila Bernal, you all stay safe there. Thank you so much. Let's bring in meteorologist Elisa Raffa now, who's in our weather center. And we mentioned that the firefighters, as Elisa was talking about, battling these extreme temperatures too, and now potentially they could have storms to deal with as well.
Yeah, we're finding those thunderstorms fire up on the radar. There are actually some flash flood warnings in effect for parts of San Bernardino County because they could get 1 to 2 inches of rain in an hour. Seems like it would be a good thing, but remember these grounds have burn scars on them, so that rain could cause some flash flooding problems. Also, there are lots of lightning strikes in here as well. Camila was mentioning that's a concern when it comes to additional fires that could start. And you can see where we've got even some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for some of these cells that could even drop some large hail and damaging winds. The damaging winds, again, could make that fire behavior more erratic. We're also dealing with the heat. We have excessive heat warnings in effect for a lot of the LA area and some of those points east where we have some of these concerns about the fires, where temperatures have been well into the triple digits, way above average for this time of year. Red flag concerns as well because of the fire, again, near Los Angeles, where that humidity has dropped to 5 to 15% and winds are gusting up to 40 miles per hour. And that's not on top of the winds that you're getting from those severe thunderstorms. So that's what's made things pretty difficult here. You've got more than 17,000 acres that have burned here at that line fire where Camila was, when again with 0% contained because of these fire weather conditions. Jessica.
And Elisa, in the last hour, we also got some new details about a tropical disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico. What are you learning about that?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy here. We now have potential tropical cyclone 6, and what that means is we think, or we know, it's going to be tropical depression or tropical storm in the coming days, and we need to start issuing advisories and watches here. So right now, here's the center. It's very disorganized, sitting about 575 miles south of Port Arthur, Texas. It's got 58-mile-per-hour winds, but the center is just a little bit disorganized. We are expecting it to gain strength because look at all of these water temperatures here in the Gulf of Mexico. Some low 90s, middle and upper 80s. So incredibly warm ocean temperatures that will fuel this into possibly a hurricane. Right now, the watches are only in effect for the Gulf Coast of Mexico. We are expecting tropical storm watches to be issued along the coast of Texas, maybe even as far east as Louisiana. Because if you look at the track, we are looking at a hurricane landfall possible somewhere on the Texas-Louisiana coastline, possibly late Tuesday into Wednesday. So something that we need to watch incredibly closely. Now, we had a recent hurricane landfall in Texas with Beryl earlier in the season that came through the Houston area. We've had a couple of other named storms, Ida, Beta, in this area as well. But when it comes to two hurricanes in one season for the Texas coastline, you have to go back to 2008, where we had Dolly and Ike make landfall. So again, we'll have to watch, see maybe if Texas gets this 1-2 punch already so far this season. We could find these tropical storm force conditions starting already late Tuesday. You could see maybe some of those outer bands coming in on the coastline. And then as we go into Wednesday, we're watching to see if we can get it to be a hurricane and where it can make landfall. Now, regardless of whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane or what have you, we do have a concern for some flash flooding. Already have some slight risk, a level 2 out of 4 for heavy rain along the Texas and Louisiana coastlines through Tuesday and Wednesday, because we're already fearing about rainfall totals in this area that could be 4 to 8 inches, maybe even up to 12 in some isolated cases. Now, where this heavy rain is will really heavily depend on that track, so expect updates in the coming days. Jessica.
All right, Elisa Raffa for us in the Weather Center. Thanks so much.
This morning, millions of people in Texas and Louisiana are facing hurricane and tropical storm warnings. Louisiana's governor has already declared a statewide emergency, a state of emergency, in preparation of Francine's arrival. Let's get straight to meteorologist Elisa Raffa. She's got much more on this. This storm is already close to becoming a hurricane, last I saw. What are you watching here?
Yeah, we are expecting it to strengthen significantly before landfall. Right now, it's still a tropical storm with 65-mile-per-hour winds sending about 400 miles southwest of Louisiana. But you can see the outer bands already bringing some rain from New Orleans, Brownsville, Texas, already getting some heavy rain. And look at all that lightning offshore coming in on those outer bands. We've had some dry air kind of limiting Francine a little bit overnight, but these ocean temperatures are incredibly warm. So that's why we are expecting it to get its act together and strengthen just before landfall. Hurricane warnings in effect for a lot of Louisiana here, looking at a Category 2 hurricane just before landfall. Again, that could be significant when it comes to damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge, all of these impacts starting pretty much Wednesday morning. You can see the winds really starting to pick up on Wednesday, so any preparations need to be done today. Things start to get nasty going into tomorrow morning. Look at these winds, could pump 90 to 95-mile-per-hour winds for parts of Louisiana, 45-mile-per-hour gusts in New Orleans, and these winds continue to travel through Louisiana and then into Mississippi as we go into Thursday. Now, these winds will bring that onshore ocean push, so we're looking at 5 to 10 feet of storm surge along parts of Louisiana here, 2 to 4 feet of storm surge in New Orleans. Also, this comes with a footprint of heavy rain, considerable life-threatening flash flooding possible, because look at the footprint of this heavy rain here. 4 to 6 inches would be pretty widespread, but we could find some totals approaching a foot. Also, notice how far inland this gets. We could be looking at some flooding concerns for parts of northern Mississippi, then even going into Tennessee as well, something we'll be watching for days. Kate.
Yeah, but I mean, today seems to be the last day to prepare, as things are going to really start ramping up as we head into tomorrow, as you lay out. Elisa, thank you so much.
I'm CNN meteorologist Elisa Raffa in the CNN newsroom. We've been watching Francine for a couple of days now. It made landfall earlier this week, but we still have this remnant rain that's been swirling around the southeast, still dumping some heavy rain and the threat of some flash flooding. Look at the amount of rain that we've already seen from Francine. Of course, some heavy totals near where it made landfall in southern Louisiana. Some of these rainfall totals over 6 inches. Another cluster of some heavy rain along the Florida panhandle as well. And then look at some of this rain stretching into Alabama, Tennessee, some totals widespread over 4 inches, which again could cause some flash flooding problems if it all squeezes out too quickly. Here is what's left of the flood watches in effect for some 4 states, from Tennessee through Alabama over into Georgia as we go through the day today. Now, a lot of this area is seeing some drought conditions, so it could use some rain, but the problem is, again, when it just comes down all too once, all too fast. You could still get an additional, 3 to 4 inches of rain, even some totals up to 6 inches possible in some of the heaviest downpours across the southeast. We are also watching this other area of development in the Atlantic. That will bring some heavy rain to the Carolinas as we go into Monday. We could see some flooding rains possible there, and then it stretches its way up the East Coast through Wednesday and Thursday. Now, again, that could cause some problems with some flash flooding for the eastern Carolinas from Greenville down towards Wilmington. It could get a name. It could develop into something tropical. There's a medium chance of that happening, but even if it doesn't, it still will dump some of that heavier rain. When you look farther off to the east there, we've got Gordon. That is also a tropical storm right now. It's got winds at 45 miles per hour, expected to just kind of meander in the Atlantic for now. No threat to land. CNN Newsroom, we'll be right back.